Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Minnie here, and I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys a new update for this. You'll notice, there's no tanks, there's no soldiers running around, and that's because I've currently removed them to focus on detailing the map. You can already kind of tell, just based on what you see here, the map looks a lot more detailed. Like that. I've been working on the extremities of the map, as well as making the interior of the bunker look a little better, but I've only started working on that today, mind you. Now, another thing that I've been working on is effects. A lot of them. Like flies. And they even make noises. I have a cicada sound that's supposed to be playing, but it doesn't. There's a lot of stuff. But as you can see, I edited the mountains a little bit. It gives it a little more of a 3D-esque shape. You'll be able to see it more on other sides, but the mountain curves around now rather than just stopping at its original 2D plane like I had it. You can see that especially over there. You can see how it kind of curves down. Because it's the same asset with different textures. And I wanted to, make them look a little better. Now that being said, I'm going to run out here for a second. We can hear the stream. That one's going pretty strong. Because the waterfall now has water on it. Actually going down. You see we even have some pollen floating around here. Look at that right there. Does not look just juicy. That part's actually not done yet. It's mostly done over here. And I still have this glitch here, which is kind of funny, which is the, that. Because I have too many X models on screen, too many just 3D models in general. Sometimes you'll miss out on some stuff. So for example, if I stand right here especially, I'll look that way and look over here and something's missing, right? That. So I like doing that because it's funny to me. But yeah, so I'm really working out all this stuff, and I'm also fleshing out, some of the areas that the player can't go to, because still right now there are no clips on the outer walls of, outer limits of where the player can actually move. So right now the player can kind of move anywhere. And it leads to this kind of messy thing that I want to fix. But yeah, no, you'll find that I've put in a lot of details into the mountainsides and the surrounding areas. I mean, just look at all that. Doesn't this map... I mean, just tell me, doesn't this map feel just a little more complete just by the whole aspect of the fact that we can see, the fact that you can't see the edge of the map anymore. It's finally all the vegetation's there and, everything that I wanted. We got some fire effects going on in the city. That house is burning pretty bad. That thing's burning pretty little. We've even got some flies in certain areas still. See, look at that. And then, of course, I believe I have it. Oh, that one's not even on. Yeah, see the lanterns? They have their effect playing. So that's cool, So it makes it feel a little more lively. I have no idea where those flies are. Oh, are they up there? Oh, yeah, I got birds. Birds are cool. Fucking dragonfly. Yeah, and so, this is all fun right here. I'm enjoying what I've done with this. I still haven't detailed some of these inward areas. Like, I've done this one, this house. Not entirely, but I just gotta add a couple things up here besides this. But I've done it for the most part. Gotta fix that, maybe. But there's some other stuff, too. Like, this house, you guys have seen it before. Worked on this house a bit. That needs to change, but other than that, it's all good. That's smoldering right there, which I thought was a good idea to have. There's nothing too crazy. These houses kind of need to be done a little more, but that's because I made them to be the bare minimum. I mean, these houses are kind of pre-designed to be done. But there's always still, more that you can add. There's never enough. I think I added the ray gun. Not in this house. It's in a different house. Yeah, but Easter eggs, they're fun. Find them. And, as you can see, if I go into this house here and go up. Once again, detailed further. Now this back area actually has a little more personality to it. It's not just a flat plane. It's got, you know, all this stuff. Similarly, if we go into the other house that we were just in, look out the back, and we can see a little bit, I guess not a little bit of detail here, because I haven't detailed this part yet, but there's that. So yeah, now I've been working ever so slowly toward making sure that this map looks as good as it possibly can. And it's coming out pretty okay. Now, I have been working on the other maps too. How my system's working now is I am working on this map 4 days a week for an hour each day. And then I work on the in-between map, which is that weird one that has all the floating islands and stuff, for another hour. And then afterward, I work on a miscellaneous map. Right now, it's the Assyrian map, but that's not really getting anywhere right now. So I'm thinking about switching over to a different map, maybe the Egyptian one. Anyway, we're back out over here. As you can see, I added some detail here to make sure that the players don't, you know, think they can run up. Even then, I still think I have to add some bushes just along this area to make it seem a little more, you know, easy to do. I have to do some portaling as well. Now, if I do r_show portals and then developer, and that's going to be 2, and then developer script is 1, I believe. Yeah, there we go. So there's all my portals in the map. Now, of course, the portals that are already in here are these. And, you know, it makes sense that each prefab has its own predefined portals, except for this fucker, which I forgot to add in. But I've also added another portal. You can't see it because I've only done the one part right there. And the whole goal is to make sure this entire map can be played on, you know, some lesser systems. So, for example, a portal would be, I would add a fake wall right here, and then I would add something else right here to make it so that, you know, if the player ends up, yeah, I know it's not drawing a lot of the static models, buddy. So when the player runs up here, they won't be rendering all that, which will be very important, you know, especially for things like that. It'll be very important for the maps overall to make sure that it's not rendering what it doesn't need to render. Anyway. Oh, shut up, game. I did this to myself. Now, lastly, we have this. And so I haven't really done a whole lot. It does feel a little more alive now with all the other stuff, you know, all the pollen and all that. Yeah, I've done a little bit of detail in here. You know, there's playing cards there and some rubble, but I don't really like this and I want to redo this. So this will be redone eventually. This room, however, looks pretty good. Like, I'm not, if I get rid of that. This room I'm feeling does a good job. I like this room. It's a good, just ammunition room. So we're going to finish up here. But I'm going to show you the last little bit of detail that I did. In here, so as you can see, I've added a couple doors to make this look, you know, like, for example, make this area just not look so damn useless. But I also added, you know, these here to make it look like they were still storing stuff in here. They might have been, you know, unloading some cargo or whatever. I might add a truck over here, actually. Well, there is already a truck down here, but I might add a non-destroyed truck over here. There's this, of course. You know, these have all been in here for a while. And I've edited this final room. There's a box here now. I've edited this final room, and the reason being is because I didn't like its original design, and I wanted to make it look a little more interesting, is what I'm going to say. And I think this looks interesting. It kind of goes down, and really when you walk into the room, as I did it right now, originally when you walked into the room, it was just kind of like a big square. So I've changed it now to where when you walk into it, the first thing that draws your attention is the ceiling. You kind of look up and you see that slant, and you see this little bit of extra architecture. I might complicate that a little more. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have a wire coming from each of the nodes here. And those wires are actually going to be, you know, connecting to different things. And similarly up top there's going to be a lot of wires. And they're all going to be up there, kind of like, you know, going all over the place. And I'm going to have an observation room right here. And so that'll, maybe a door down here. And so that'll make sure that the entirety of the of this room is kind of, you know, looks a little better. As for this here, there's no fixing this. This is a boring ass hallway. But I kind of like it, you know, being that feeling where, you know, you've been out here and then you run in here and then you just descend. And when you finally get to where you're supposed to be, it's like bop. And then there's this kind of room that this just looks a little more interesting than the rest of the facility. Even though the facility itself is pretty small, I've been thinking about extending it. I might have to, you know, drop that concern, but who knows? Maybe, maybe not. So this is the whole of the map. There's, of course, my tanks and stuff down there that I'll pre-cache. So, you know, when I do finally need to start spawning stuff back in and moving my vehicles around, that's the first thing I'm going to be doing. Then that'll happen. But yeah, so this is the map in its entirety. Now, what I mean by I fleshed the mountains out a little more, you can see they curve now. They actually curve around instead of just kind of, like they used to curve too, but they didn't curve this far. So now there's a full-on, almost 180 curve that they do, including this top part here, which definitely wasn't here before. And this top part, you can kind of see right there, it more or less just acts as a way, so if you're looking at it from, say, over here, you can see it kind of goes down. So if we're looking at it from right here, you'll just be like, oh hey, there's more to this mountain than meets the eye. Similarly, you can see I did something like I stretched that out there, and the reason why I stretched that out there is because the only spot that you ever see that from is right here. And so suddenly, you know, it looks a lot more flat. Of course, now you can hardly see it, but I think that's a good thing. The fact is, you know, I don't want you just to see that texture when you see all the other stuff that I've added in, because I've added in a lot of details here. Zooming out all the way, we can really see the extent of the detail that I've added. Pretty much anything out here, with the exception to, of course, you know, the actual patches that I made, the terrain that I made before I made these little tree walls. Everything out there is definitely new, for sure. And that's been sort of just kind of like a small creative artistic challenge of mine, to make sure that, you know, when you're standing there, I mean, you never notice just how far away that these things are from the edge, but when you're down here, and this is how far you can move, they seem a lot closer. And even if you go to the furthest point, well, they still seem pretty close. And that's, you know, so long as the world feels fleshed out, that's kind of what I'm going for. I need to do something with this, though, because this is supposed to look, you know, more fleshed out, once again, but because of how far I'm having the players stay away from it, I guess maybe if they're standing here, they might be able to see some of it. I guess I'll keep it in. But, yeah. So, that's the map. Now, I want to go into some of the reasons why I haven't been able to work on it. So I have a few other projects I'm working on. So I'm not just working on this. I am also working with some friends making some phone apps. We're currently on our second one, and so that's been fun. My retail job is kicking in a lot harder, and I've been working a lot more. I just actually got back home from a split shift over there. And then there's, and yeah, I'm also changing positions while I'm over there too, so that's wonderful. And college, I just had some finals done, so that's fun. And so I'm going to have a little more time. I stopped working on this entirely for a couple weeks. So now that college is done, I'm able to work on this again. But then on top of that, I'm also working on another project that's going to be more personal to me. And so all these are reasons why I haven't really been able to work on this. But, you know, that's why this took so long. That and the fact that some of my sounds don't spawn in. For example, I have a line battle sound. It's a sound that's supposed to be playing, you know, battle noises in the background. And it's not working, and I don't know why. But anyway, so that's what I got so far. If you like what you see, go ahead and leave a comment. I would greatly appreciate it. Any, you know, criticisms or, you know, concerns about the map would be fantastic to hear. Any interest, of course, would also be good. We do have a Discord, so if you want to go ahead and join up on the Discord, I would be very happy to have you there. And that is that. Thank you all so much for being patient. I know this is taking a long time. this is a very big project of mine, and I actually need to go back it up again because it's getting big. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.